As you know, we're reaching the end of Nouri al-Maliki's second term as Prime Minister. We have parliamentary elections coming up, theoretically at the end of April. That's when they're scheduled to take place. We'll hope that they will take place on that time. But what's also happening at the moment is that we have deteriorating security problems in the country. You probably remember that after the initial invasion in 2003, there was a deteriorating security, and things got very, very bad in 2006 and 2007. At one point, there was the official numbers of civilian dead per month was around 3,000 dead per month. Around 2008, 2009, that was reduced significantly by around 90%. So it was reduced from around 3,000 dead per month to around 300. And it stagnated at that level of violence for a few years, from around 2008 all the way to around 2011, 2012. And now it's back on the up, I'm afraid. So we're not at the same levels of violence that we were at in 2006, but currently we're at around 1,000 dead per month, around 1,000. So, and the trend is currently negative. We don't actually know. Last month there was significant violence in Fallujah, which is a town in western Iraq. And you'll probably remember it was the scene of significant violence in 2004. Last month there was significant violence in Fallujah, and it's rumored, we've heard, that perhaps around 2,000 security officials were killed in Fallujah last month. So we don't know exactly what's happening. We don't have official numbers, but it's very, very violent. Now you'll remember that, or you probably heard that the situation in Fallujah and western Iraq started deteriorating around 2 months ago very quickly for a combination of reasons. One of the reasons is because obviously it's a region that borders Syria, and the border area with Syria is completely out of control, much more so than it was in the past. Previously it was out of control because the state authorities in Syria wanted it to be out of control. Now it's out of control because they simply don't have the capacity to control it anymore. And there are terrorist organizations and smuggling operations that have completely taken over that area. And that obviously has spillover effects on our country. And another reason why security has deteriorated markedly in that area is because of corruption. Corruption has played a big role, and I'll go into that afterwards. But corruption isn't just in the civilian sector, it's in the security sector in Iraq too. And where there's corruption in the security sector, then you can bribe all sorts of people to get information, you can pay them to allow bombs to get through, et cetera, et cetera. It's very easy nowadays in Iraq. It's always been easy, but now it's even easier. Another reason why security is deteriorated in that area is because of economics. You have lots of unemployed young people. Every year, there's around 300,000 young Iraqis who are joining the workforce or trying to join the workforce every year. And there's nowhere near enough employment for all of those people. Maybe around 10% of them get fixed jobs. A lot of those other people don't have a regular source of income, and there's a lot of poverty in these areas, and therefore a lot of those people are easy to exploit. And a final reason why security is deteriorating in that area is this is something that doesn't affect all of Iraq. The other factors affect the whole country. This one factor only affects parts of the country, which is sectarianism. Right? So the people in western Iraq are discriminated against because of religious affiliation. Okay? They get different types of treatment than people from the south. So in the south, people are mistreated. There's a lot of violence, and in detention, there's torture, and so on and so forth. But it's worse in western Iraq. Right? So I'm not trying to make it sound like it's all rosy on one side and all terrible on the other. But in western Iraq, it is worse. This has been a long time coming. This isn't something that has happened overnight. And we're suffering the consequences of problems that have been boiling now for a long time. I'll give you the summary, and then I'll give you the detail. So the summary of why is this taking place? Why is this negative trend developed, and why is it likely to continue? The reason why, in my view, it's happened is because of two factors. The first is that we don't have any convincing or valid or binding rules to govern our country. And by rules, I mean a constitution or a legal framework, right? So obviously I'm a lawyer, so I'm biased towards legal issues, but I really think it's very important. We do have a constitution in our country, but the way it was drafted and what it says make it so that it's impossible to apply, okay? I'll go into that in a moment. That's one thing. So we don't have a set of rules that the politicians or the people are willing to apply. That's one thing, not one factor. The second factor, which I think is perhaps even more important than the first, is that the people who are in charge. So in any system of government, you'll rely on the rules that are in place, and then you'll rely on the individuals to implement them. You'll rely on the politicians to implement those rules. So in our case, because we don't have a set of rules that the politicians are willing to apply, we're even more at the mercy of the individuals who are in charge. And our problem here is that the people who are in charge are really of a bad nature, right? So we're really in a bad situation because the people who are in charge are very, very corrupt, are very incompetent, and are very sectarian. The subtitle of my book says it all, and I'll be going into some of that in a moment as well.